Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead go on to take the race win today, and if for any reason Klaus Klaffenbach and Adolf Harney DNF'd, in other words they didn't finish the race, then Steve Webster may well find himself with his 8th World Championship.
But I'm not going to look at it that way. I'll be looking to Mr. Klaffenbach and Mr. Adolf Harney to keep the whole thing alive and kicking for a little while longer yet. Here we are looking at rows 5 and 6, so you can check out who's around. Ian Guy and Andy Peach had a bit of a nightmare. They've had a bit of a nightmare season, and they were confident they'd finally found the electrical problem that's been plaguing them. Unfortunately, other problems manifested themselves during Steinhausen racing Suzuki down effectively. Then he should really be able to scorch into paddock with a distinct advantage over the rest of the field. The brave man with the red flag, standing facing the sun, moves to one side, and we wait for those lights to turn green. And they do, and Steinhausen gets a beauty. Stevie Abbott gets an awful start, which is something of a habit of his, but Steinhausen tries to get inside his teammate but can't quite make it, and Webbo's there at the front with Paul Woodhead hanging on. They're in the lead. Up to Druids, still in first place. I think Klaffenbach might have made a pretty hairy start through into third place. He needs to try and keep in touch with those two silver projectiles in front of him. And yes, he has. So number 2, Klaffenbach with Harney in the chair, trying to make up as much as possible for the fact that they no longer have that race win in Donington Park to count on and have lost the 25 points. Scorched through into second place. Klaus Klaffenbach, Adolf Harney in the chair through to second place. They've got Webster. It's the old foes at the front, first and second place, and I just wonder if anyone can possibly challenge them. Well, Steve Abbott took the race win after Webster had a fuel line burst here last year. So Webber, I'm sure, has made sure he's got those fuel pipes replaced and probably bolted on this time around, as there's lots of jockeying for position further downfield. Number 22 in third place. Number 22 is Tom Hanks, with that deputy passenger of his, Ian Simmons, the 3 times Formula 2 British champion, getting off to a very, very bright start indeed. Number 43, Houghton and Long are in there. They've made a good start as well. And there's Adolf Harney's familiar leg as they come scorching around Clearways and head onto the Brabham Straight. Webster Woodhead lead. What Webster, of course, cleverly does, he keeps changing his passenger, so that sort of motivates him afresh, because when you've got a fresh passenger, then it's their turn to win a world championship, so you can't really let them down. And at number 42, just coming out of pit lane after having problems, the number 42 outfit of Beavers and Beavers. That's Jan Beavers and Singo Beavers, the Dutch duo on the Beavers Racing Suzuki. They're already a lap down. Klaffenbach certainly isn't. He's right there at the beginning of this 23-lap race, on the tail of Steve Webster. York Steinhausen, and obviously this is a trickier track than perhaps could be said to be a trickier track than to learn than Hockenheim, where he won. He has Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs for company. Actually, Rob, I didn't ask you about your 50p for the sidecar men. I suppose I ought to make it a quid as there's 2 men's. Well, I won't. I'll be kind. I'll say that we leave it at 50 pence. Have you any particular preference?
Well, I'm at a significant loss situation from this weekend so far. So
I'll tell you what, make it 25p, so it's a quid all told. That probably makes you feel more comfortable.
It's got to be at least 50p on the nose for Steve Webster, as I won't be getting home. I'll have to thumb a lift at the rate I'm going at. But no, joking apart, having some talks with Steve Webster, and particularly with Rolf Steinhausen, great additional excitement in the Steinhausen team, because there's even more significant breakthroughs with suspension, particularly with the suspension of both the number 1 and the number 8 outfit of Jörg Steinhausen and Christian Partzer. The IBAC suspension systems that the Steinhausen team has started to run, particularly in earnest, in serious contention this season, have made yet more advantages. I was talking to a chap called Richard Anderson, the director of IBAC Springs, and the rear suspension units, the big improvements that I'm enthusing about. Of course, we look at a sidecar, the driver's on one side and the passengers on the outfit on another side, normally on the left-hand side of the outfit. For the suspension unit to cope with the enormous G-forces, and of course these outfits are not symmetrical. There's a huge amount of difference of weight balance on the outfits, of course, and the suspension unit is always going to work better when the outfit's going around one sort of left-hander versus a right-hander. And the experimentation and development has been towards getting a more even Stevens, if you like, and a more even wear that will give a better ride to driver and passenger, but also a better amount of time management for the outfit. Of course, rear tyre gets such a kick in from the sidecars, and the IBAC suspension units people, and in particular springs, have made big breakthroughs, and the Steinhausen number 1 and number 8 outfits happy and looking confident for race wins.
Webbo then in the lead. He's holding off one red outfit, where Steinhausen's holding off, or was holding off another, but I think Stevie Abbott's gone through, and he has. The old devil's decided it's time to make a move, and he gallops his way through on that Grebensek Racing outfit. Steve Abbott, now 45 years old, the man from Nottingham. Jamie Biggs, a mere fledgling of 31. They're now through to third place, and I just think the guys who won here last year might be beginning to challenge those outfits in front. Remember, he's now got the benefit of a 1140cc Yamaha engine, so he's not going to be quite as much down on power, and of course this is very much a middle range power circuit, so it could suit that machine of Steve Abbott's.
Well, there's a significant weight advantage as well for Ab. Stevie Abbott can leave the brakes that fractions later, as you quite rightly said, Jack, a neutral circuit as far as machines that have got extra horsepower, and ones like Stevie Abbott that are a bit down on power. So we're looking at the case in point at the moment. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 outfits all in line astern, which is just what the Sidecar World Championship's all about. Good close racing that'll keep the spectators, and certainly you and I, Jack, excited and on the edges of our seats, all 23 laps of this race. But you mentioned that Steve Webster had made a dreadful start. I suspect, however, that it's a confident start. He didn't want to spin the rear tyre up and get that overheated perhaps at the start of the race, because he knows that with this advantage, this massive progress that they've made with the suspension, that he doesn't really need to abuse the rear tyre, and that we're on lap 4 of 23 at the moment, that he can afford to go around at consistent lap speeds. We're looking at 1 minute 33s, low 1 minute 33s, particularly at the moment Steve Abbott with the fastest lap of 1:33.161, that Webbo can just go around, because he knows that as soon as ever he wants to, he can dip down into the 1 minute 30 bracket, which in the second session of qualifying he was doing that consistency. 1 minute 30.582. Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead were cracking off in the second session of qualifying. So when you know you've got 3 seconds in hand, you can afford to start the race with a little bit of caution.
Well, he did that, and he's got the other guys, his caution has at least allowed the other guys to keep him company thus far. York Steinhausen, who had carburation problems in practice, the number 8 outfit, said he has been feeling the pressure after winning in Hockenheim. He's felt people expect him to win constantly now. I wouldn't worry about that, my boy. You saw it in Valencia, in fact, when he made a lot of driving errors during the race in Valencia, but still couldn't get onto the pace of Webbo and Klaffenbach. So he just wants to take his time. He races at Suzuki with a Hayabusa engine, incidentally, in the German Championship, but it's still not reliable enough, they think, yet for the World Cup. So that terrifying prospect is yet to hit the World Cup scene. And Webbo is really challenging Klaffenbach hard, not giving him any rest at all. Incidentally, one outfit missing from the field is Dave Molyneux, the great TT racer, Dave Molyneux. Oh, as Stevie Abbott goes up the inside of Klaffenbach, he makes it stick this time into paddock hill, and there's nothing that Claffey can do about that. Steve Abbott wants to take off and challenge Steve Webster.
Steve Abbott could leave it braking that little bit later, and of course up into Druids he can brake that bit later again, and he's got, well, almost a whole sidecar gap between him and the chasing OKM machine there, and that was looking quite a dress rehearsal for Jörg Steinhausen. Jörg looking to get through on the Klaffenbach-Harney outfits, so that really did upset the apple cart, with Steve Abbott being able to go up the inside of Klaas Klaffenbach, and there was an almost complete change for positions 2, 3 and 4 then. But of course Steve Webster, without the luxury of rear view mirrors, doesn't know what histrionics are going on behind, but we can see that the dice for second, third and fourth position at the moment is very open. This is quite exciting and thrilling stuff.
Tom Hanks is still in 5th place, Van Giel 6th, Houghton in 7th place, Stuart Muldoon up to 8th place, so making up for not such a successful time. Actually, he was, I beg his pardon, he was 6th in qualification, so he needs to move on a bit from there with Gus Gusman in the chair. Houtenberger 9th, Steenbergen 10th, Hegarty 11th, Stafford in 12th place, and Ian Guy and Andy Peach on the LCR Swiss Auto Kits Racing James Motorsport machine have reached the point. They're in 15th place, just in front of Brian Gray and Lechty. Incidentally, one of the outfits had a really rough time during practice, and the passenger actually fell out and broke his leg when he got run over by his own outfit. So it's not been all smooth for everybody out there during the course of qualifying for the sidecars here. Incidentally, the number 7 sidecar of Brian Gray and Steve Pointer making their return as Team Power Biking. They've got their own team now. And here comes the drop down, Pilgrim's drop, and look at the way that Klaffenbach was able to just slice past Steve Webster. And a great move by Klaffenbach has swirled him through into the lead. Stevie Webster suddenly finding himself shaken up by Claffey storming past, and he's obviously decided that this World Championship isn't over yet. And look at this, and what's happened there? And that's the Clark Grand Prix boys. They've just lost some of their Stuart Muldoon and Gus Gusman. Gus Gusman clapping Stuart on the shoulders to say, just a minute, mates, we've lost half the outfit. And that was a nasty bump there. Steinhausen, I think, inflicting that on the backside of Jamie Biggs in the Stevie Abbott outfit. Is that allowed? Are you allowed to bump the bottom of the man who's hanging out of the outfit alongside you? Is all fair in love and war and sidecar racing?
I think there's a small amount of flexibility allowed when you're out there racing.
Yeah, the flexibility is the flesh of the man's bottom, I should imagine.
That's exactly right, yes. You stole the words right out of my mouth there, Jack. But the consummate ease that Klaus Klaffenbach was able to just pull out and put the indicators on and go by Steve Webster, and that was quite dramatic, and Paul Woodhead, and they must have wondered what on earth had happened. But I still am certain that Steve Webster is confident. He knows he's got between 2 and 3 seconds a lap in hand, and we're just over quarter race distance at the moment. And Steve doesn't want, again, it's tyre management. We've still got, even though the clouds are out here, we're still going to have a healthy track surface temperature. It's got to be something like 33, 34 degrees. And Steve Webster, even though he's got the advantages, or perceived advantages of better suspension, they've got a very well sorted engine that's putting out bags and bags of power. The Achilles heel, if you like, are the tyres. Steve Webster cannot afford, in these early stages of the race, to go out there and possibly blister the tyre and cause damage. We're just over quarter race distance. There's bags and bags of laps to go at the moment. He'll make the moves at about 3/4 race distance and then try to take the race win. And right on cue, I haven't used that all day, right on cue, Jörg Steinhausen has dipped down into the 132s with a 132.772. So Jörg is full of confidence, and Jack, you quite rightly said that the pressure's on him to try and at least get on the rostrum, ideally another race win. So Jörg reacting to that and consolidating his 3rd place as we stand at the moment, after lap 8 of 23.
As Webber, with 15 laps to go, loses the lead, gains the lead, I beg your pardon, regains the lead from Klaffenbach and Harney by diving underneath them as they go down into Paddock Bend. And Stevie Abbott taking a wide line there as he tries to figure out where he's going to go next. And it almost looks like they were playing games with him when they allowed him through to 2nd place and looked like a threat. And suddenly the big white and red outfit has been demoted once again to 4th place. And it's the old terrible twins at the front, Steve Webster and his constant shadow, Klaus Klaffenbach, the man who has finished second in World Championships more times than he cares to tell you. And there he goes, charging past. He really does get the slipstream effect when he goes down Pilgrim's Drop. It just gets a rush of air, gallops past into Hawthorns. Klaus Klaffenbach, 2nd in the World Sidecar Championship in 1999, in 1998, 3rd in 97, third in 1992 and 1993. There's a cruel career statistics, and there's, of course, you compare them with people who've never won anything at all and never will, in which case you could say that it's been a pretty consistent and impressive series of career results. Look at Tom Hanks still hanging in there with Ian Simmons in the chair, doing a good job holding on. They're just about 4.8 seconds off the leader, but they're holding that at a fairly consistent gap, lapping at between 1:33.1 and 1:33.7. The leader's last lap was 1:33.2. He's got 0.5 of a second advantage over Webbo, who did a 1:33.55. Hanks and Simmons, I think, have got a really handy advantage over the Van Giels, who haven't even come across the line yet in the number 15 outfit, which is lying in 6th place. They're only just screaming out of clearways right now, and Hegarty waving an arm there. It looks like they might be in trouble. The newcomers, the brothers Sean and Mark Hegarty, they turned their LCR upside down during practice. That's the first time in their racing career they've ever done that. And when they competed in their first World Cup race, they were forced out of the running when the throttle cable broke. Well, there's obviously some problem arisen for them here at Brands Hatch. So the Hegartys go out, but the front four are absolutely glued together. Now, the absence of Dave Molyneux, I don't know whether I finished telling you that. Dave Molyneux has been sidelined in the Isle of Man with a nasty eye infection, has been unable to come over and compete on his home ground, but he should be back for Assen. We sincerely hope so. He's had a few problems with that Honda Blackbird engine, but the TT winner is looking to get himself established in the World Cup, and Dave Molyneux may even be watching and listening to us right over there in the Isle of Man at the moment. Dave, if you are, then we hope that eye infection goes away pretty quickly, and look forward to seeing you racing at Assen. And this is the battle further downfield. The number 15 outfit of Martin and Tony Van Giels, the Janssen Racing outfit. And that's locked in battle with the boys. I think the boys of the Clach Grand Prix team, they've not been upset by losing half their sidecar. Or have they? They can't possibly stop for another one. Certainly, all the outfits in our picture are looking fairly complete at the moment, so we think that battle is being fought between people with complete outfits. The number 19 outfit there of Gerard Houtzenberg and Madaras, the second of the team Klaffenbach OKM machines. They're lying in 7th place, chasing the two Van Giels, the number 15 machines. Fastest lap, Webster Woodhead. They've improved to 1:32.195. So Webster within a second of the time he did on qualifying tyres, I presume, during Superpole.
That's right, Steve Webster, when he was passed the first time by Klaas Klaffenbach, just tucked in behind him, and then the supreme touche, just powered by the OKM outfit, just to let Klaas Klaffenbach and Adolf Heine know that even though you just stuck the indicators on there and passed us down the straight, don't think we're going to allow you to get away with that. And Steve Webster's banged in a quick one, and you're quite right, at 1:32.195 after lap 10 of 23, currently represents the fastest lap so far of the race. So Steve Webster right in the wheel tracks now, his arch adversary, and that's the OKM outfit. So it's the old guard, if you like, who just coming up to half race distance. It's going to go down to the wire there. Jörg Steinhausen on the number 8 outfit is just a little bit off the back there. He's still in 3rd place, but something like 1.408 off the leader now, which of course are just pulling a little way a bit at the front. So business as usual between the leading trio.
The number 43 outfit there of Houghton and Long, their Suzuki is clinging on to the back of that battle. Van Giels, Houtzenberg, Houghton, they are the guys who are battling over 6th place. They've dropped Steenbergen, and he has Stafford for company in 10th place, the number 33 machine of Trevor Stafford and Mark Cox, the All Bikes Racing Suzuki. So battle's being fought right the way down the field here. Van Giels and Van Giels, the experienced Dutch duo. They presently holding 6th place. Hanks is a little bit isolated, 4 seconds behind Stevie Abbott, but in actual fact 31 seconds, virtually half a minute ahead of this battle for 6th place. That second Klaus Klavenbach team outfit challenging Van Giels for 6th place, just as at the front Claffey is challenging Stevie Webster. And Steve Abbott's just lost it a little bit, lost the edge on that Yamaha perhaps. I don't know whether the Yamaha engine's just straining a bit to keep up with these howling 1200cc Suzuki monsters. But certainly as Steinhausen has lost touch slightly with his team leader and Klavenbach, Stevie Abbott has in turn lost touch a wee bit with Steinhausen. It would be nice to see Stevie Abbott on the podium, but at the moment it's not looking likely. The sidecar passengers' legs waving dramatically in unison, theatrically choreographed as they go steaming through Hawthorns along the Derek Minter Straight and then swish downhill into Dingle Dell.
Watching closely, apart from the odd slide from the rear tyre, the outfit, the Steinhausen outfit from Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead really is gliding around this Brands Hatch full circuit, not finding any of the bumps or ripples on the corners, putting the outfit offline at all. So I was enthusing about this Eibach suspension system, but it really does seem to be causing the #1 outfit to be much more planted rather than the machine we're looking at the moment, Klaus Klavenbach and Adolf Harney, bouncing a little bit when they're going around some of the corners, particularly Paddock Hill Bend. That bump just right on the apex does seem to set the outfit off a tiny little bit. So Steve Webster confident. Oh, and there's some of the shrapnel, some of the gubbins and guts of the of the bodywork that we saw unceremoniously ripped off the outfit just about 3 laps ago, lying at the edge of the track.
Nobody's actually got on there to clean it off yet, so perhaps the lads can pick it up on their slowing down lap. The battle for the lead disappearing once more towards Pilgrim's Drop, and whap, howling down that hill. And this is a place that Klavenbach usually manages to get the slipstream effect and overtake, but he didn't manage it that time. He did get close, but wasn't able to pull the move up the inside of Hawthorns. Perhaps Steve Webster's become at least wise to it. Incidentally and entertainingly, Klaus Klavenbach and Adolf Harney exactly the reverse of Steve Abbott. Abbott, the driver, is 45 years old and his passenger, Jamie Biggs, is 31. Klaus Klavenbach, the driver, is 31 years old. His passenger, Adolf Harney, is 45. And there's one of the outfits, the Schroeder and Waffler outfit. The number 18 Suzuki has called it a day. Plunging down through that fast bend at Clearways, onto the Brabham Straight. That's no straight at all, really. Just a long, 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 gentle curve. And Steinhausen now is holding on there in 3rd place, but Stevie Abbott on the Gremensek Racing 1040cc Yamaha has certainly dropped right off and has almost got the length of the climb of Halewood Hill between him and Steinhausen. Through the sharpened Graham Hill bend, the outfits go. And the right-hander at the end, which has seen some incident today. And there's the number 10 outfit, Hanke and Wood of Belgium, going out. That's Patrick Hanke, Nick Wood, the Moto Patrick Suzuki, parking up, steaming gently to itself. Sidecar races do often develop, of course, into a race of attrition. They're under a lot of strain. I mean, they're carrying 2 bodies round for a start. It's an awful lot to ask of a motorcycle engine, isn't it?
Oh, particularly the 2-stroke engines, the more highly stressed ones, but this bored-out GSXR Suzuki engines are proving to be more than reliable. It's the crankcases, however, going back to talking about the Hayabusa engine that you mentioned earlier on, Jack, that, of course, is the 1300cc engine bored down. So it's sleeved down, so the crankcase is designed and built. Oh, and that is a coming together there on Clearways and Clark Curve. So
Klaffenbach, a brave pass indeed. Now that is what I call revenge for that disgraceful manoeuvre that Steve Webster pulled on him across the marbles on the last lap at Phillip Island that actually sent Harney tumbling out of the chair. It's not quite repayment, but a little partial repayment. Certainly a dramatic move there. It made Webber move like he'd been stung, didn't it?
It did. That was that little bit more of that contact sport that I was joking about earlier on in the day, and things are certainly hotting up with that. Two outfits trying to occupy the same piece of track at the same time, of course, as you pointed out there, Jack, that has meant that Jörg Steinhausen on the number 8 outfit has been able to close up, and we're watching again in slow-mo. Klaus Klaffenbach goes for the inside. Steve Webster thinks about trying to cut him off, and Paul Woodhead, well, he almost got a bruise on his shoulder that he remembered for a long time.
He nearly shoulder charged the number 2 outfit there, didn't he? That would have been quite something.
And Jörg Steinhausen is in close contention. He's moved right up onto his teammate's rear wheel, so he'll be feeling the slipstream effect, will Jörg Steinhausen. That will have given him a bit more incentive, because he was languishing a little bit in 3rd place, but this has had the concertina effect, so it's livened this race up, and we're on lap 15 of 23 at the moment. It'd be interesting with Steve Webster getting that little bit of bumping and barging, shall we say, from Klaus Klaffenbach, if Steve Webster will get his head down and bang in another quick one. So far, Steve has got the fastest lap that he set on lap 10, 5 laps ago, at 1:32.195, and Jack, you said that he'd be able to get about another second if he wanted to off that. So Steve, we're coming into the sort of two-thirds race distance part of the race. So Steve has been exercising tyre management, not really wanting to abuse things too much, but certainly that manoeuvre by Klaus Klaffenbach, he was not too bothered about abusing not just the tyres but the side and the shoulder of Paul Woodhead. So that's sort of, we're approaching the gloves off stage of the race.
So things begin to get I like this. It's beginning to heat up. All right, boys, you can go for it now. The gloves are off. You're welcome to a bare-knuckle duel. Jörg Steinhausen, 30 years old now, from Numbrecht, the man in the background there, who's done a lot of the development work with those eye-back dampers. He's the sort of development rider for his father's team, and he actually obviously has a lot of his father's talent, because remember, Rolf Steinhausen was a double world champion in the 1970s, big burly mustachioed chap. A lot of these sidecar men, it seems to me, favour sort of Lord Kitchener moustaches, and he was the 1997 and 1998 German champion, and the European champion in 1998 as well, and that was virtually when he started racing. So Jörg Steinhausen obviously learned a lot from his venerable father, I think. The number 33 and 11 outfits, number 33 outfit of Trevor Stafford and Mark Cox, the number 11 outfit Paul and Rene Steenbergen, they are locked together there in 10th and 11th places. The battle for 10th and 11th places. Stafford looking as if, and a move being made by that beautiful blue out of the Steenbergens, and they've got through. Can't leave a gap that big and not expect it to get filled, I think, Trevor. So that number 11 outfit is now solidly through into 10th place, behind Ian Guy and Andy Peach, who are at least managing to make considerable progress after their nightmare of a time of it during qualifying, and qualifying in 18th place, way worse than they've ever done before. And we return to that battle. And this is Van Gielsen, Houtzenberger still at it. This the battle for 6th place. Tom Hanks a long way ahead of them. He's hanging in there, Hanks, about 5 seconds behind the vastly more experienced Stevie Abbott.
Stevie Abbott getting a quick one in on lap 17, which we're on at the moment. Stevie Abbott banging in at 1 minute 32.116, whilst he's currently in 4th place. However, he's nearly 4 seconds off the back of Jörg Steinhausen, so certainly clear track in front of him, and that's really what you would want, particularly Steve Abbott with that power discrepancy on that Yamaha outfit. He's able to brake later, certainly get the power down that bit earlier, but he does need to make more or as much advantage as possible from that clear track in front of him if he stands any chance at all of getting on the rostrum, and that is, he'll be able to see Jörg Steinhausen about 4 seconds ahead in third place, but Steve Abbott getting that 1:32.116, so he's still in contention and still going good, but it's not done him too good as they come over the finish line again on lap 18 of 23. It was 4 seconds behind Steinhausen, but it's now 5.087, so Stevie Abbott, well, the speed giveth in one sense, but the lap time taketh away in another one.
And all who sail in her, beautifully put, Robert. But so Stevie Abbott is fourth, Tom Hanks fifth, and we haven't yet seen Van Giels and Houtzenberger come charging across the line in 6th and 7th place. They battle for 6th and 7th place, and this is the battle for the lead, and the two silver outfits once more being headed. They're always ganging up on it, aren't they? You can see why I feel for Claffey, because somehow he always seems to be the man being outnumbered at the front. Doesn't get a lot of help from Houtzenberger at the moment. Needs to show the lad how to ride an outfit with a bit more vigour, I think. Klaffenbach, the eternal runner-up of World Championship sidecar racing in the 1990s, looked as if he might be able to do something about it until that cruel irony with the fuel at Donington Park, which has taken away 25 points. And the fact is that it's not only taken him 25 points away from him, it's added an extra 5 points onto the total of Stevie Webster's. Ian Guy's 9th, Steenbergen 10th after getting the better of Trevor Stafford. Brian Gray in 12th place. Brian Gray and Steve Pointer re-emerging after missing the last 2 races with their own team power biking outfit. It's a new motorcycle shop in High Wycombe owned by Brian. And they also helped Brian's 1999 teammates Stevie Abbott and Jamie Biggs on the Grevenseck Windle Yamaha. A lot of vigorous stuff going on there. That was the number 7 sidecar outfit, the power biking outfit of Brian Gray and Steve Pointer, that lovely blue and yellow creature that's just been overtaken by the leaders. They're hoping to continue throughout this season with their 2-stroke ADM Honda engine, but work's already underway with a new 4-stroke engine for next year in a brand new chassis. Brian Gray, he's just been lapped, yet he's been racing every year for 32 years at Brands Hatch on sidecars. His first race was July 1968. But he still feels he can do a couple of years yet. Perhaps getting a big 4-stroke underneath him will rejuvenate his efforts.
I think young at heart is the phrase.
Young at heart is very much the phrase. I think young at heart is a phrase with a lot of these guys, isn't it? The blue flag frantically waving. I shouldn't think he'll need it waving that much, because it's his former teammate and the man he gives a bit of help to, Stevie Abbott, who's the next one up to lap him.
Because of course it is the dog's chance now, just including Brands Hatch, just 4 more events for the 2-stroke engines to be used. And whatever are they going to do with those engines when they get retired at the end of this season? Oh,
they want you to race them solo, Rob. They know how much you love squealing 2-stroke Grand Prix engines. They'd really love you to take them out on the track and see what you can do with them.
Okay, well, we can come to some agreement, I'm sure.
But presumably 2-strokes will still be howling around the British national scene, so they can flog them off to boys who want to race in the British national Formula 1 and 2 championships.
Well, they'll be the Formula 2 sidecars. Those are around about the 350cc engines. So they might not, with them being 500cc, they might be outlawed to race in the UK scene. So there's going to be lots of spare parts and spare engines in just 4 races. Well, 3.25 races from now. There's just 3 laps to go here at Brands Hatch, though.
And that was the number 11 outfit there, Paul Steenbergen and his dear lady Renee Steenbergen from the Netherlands getting lapped. The leaders then have just lapped Renee and Paul Steenbergen, the Dutch duo, the 32-year-old Dutch duo. They are in turn getting a frantic blue flag waved at them because the front 3 have gone. Stevie Abbott will be next up, but he's not going to be able to live with these guys, and it's beginning to warm up. 20 laps of 23 completed. Klaffenbach leads. Webster and Steinhausen in the Steinhausen racing team, silver projectiles. All these 3, of course, with 1200cc Suzuki engines in. And hats off to Klaffenbach of Harney. They've learned to handle the Suzuki engine very, very quickly. Considering they said they were never going to change from a 2-stroke engine, when they realised it was either pack in for good or change to the 4-stroke, they've made a really good fist of it. 2 laps to go, they're leading.
Yeah, better to jump into the 4-stroke league than to be pushed out of sidecar racing completely. But with 2 laps to go, I would like to see Steve Webster a little bit closer than he is at the moment. It's a little bit too much of clear real estate in between the OKM outfit leading Klaus Klaffenbach and Adolf Harney and Steve Webster. Steve, I hope he doesn't leave himself too much to do on this, well, the last lap, because of course we're on the penultimate lap at the moment, and complete resplendent with a better suspension and powerful engine and all those good things. You can only do so much on the brakes, especially when it's Klaus Klaffenbach and Adolf Harney that you're trying to pass. Like you say, Jack, it's okay catching, but it's getting by and staying by that counts. They only pay the last lap.
And the last lap is almost upon us. We're about a lap and a half to go in this, the 8th round of the Sidecar World Cup. Klaffenbach leading, Webster second, Steinhausen third. You know that I like to see Claffey, the eternal runner-up, win, and Steve Webster knows that I don't. Oh, look, Webster is confident. He's leaving a big darky and looking for a long time over his shoulder to check where Steinhausen is. So he's obviously preparing to launch an attack. Yeah, but Steve said, what have I ever done to offend you? Well, it's not that, Steve. It's just that, you know, you've won so much. I'd love to see this lad get something out to top his career off. And especially Adolf Harney, such a wonderful, smiling character. But now with 1 lap to go, the final lap, we're on it. And it's just the time you don't want to come across someone like that. Oh, dear me. And that was a nasty moment then, as the number 42 outfit that's always been lapped about 15 times just didn't get out of the way or didn't know where to put itself, and suddenly there's blue smoke everywhere. Is Webster in trouble?
No spinning the back tyre coming out of Druids, because Klaus Klaffenbach and Adolf Harney, the outfit was sideways. All of a sudden Klaus Klaffenbach had to put the anchors on in case he ran into the back of the back marker, and Steve Webster, well, he was taking advantage of that and tried to split the atom and come in between both of them, got right by the side of Klaus Klaffenbach and then maxed the throttle as they came out of Druids, and he spun that rear tyre up. Now there's no question that Steve Webster, this is Webbo at his best. He knows he's got just about a mile and a half. He's got to make his opportunity and get by Klaus Klaffenbach. It's going to be one chance and one chance only, because Klaus, he knows he's had those 25-point stock from Dorrington Park. Really, it's all about individual wins now, and he wants to stuff Steve Webster on home circuit.
Oh, Webster get it all over the curb and really got it angled up coming across the Dingle Dell corner. And has that given an advantage to Harney? It has not. Harney and Klaffenbach hanging on for grim death as they head down the straight towards Clark Turn and Clearways. Here comes Steve Webster launching. Oh, Webster right round the outside. It really is a drag race, and Webbo heads for the inside. There's bits flying off the outfits everywhere, but Klaffenbach's going to win it. Klaffenbach takes it by about 1.5 inches from Stevie Webster, and Adolf Harney claps him on the back. Well done, my boy, he says. We got it. We got the win, and a well-deserved one as well. The OKM team congratulate one another, and that lovely lady already standing in the right place with her OKM outfit on. Well done, my dear. You've got the race win. York Steinhausen in 3rd place, continuing his solid run of good race results. And Steve Webster probably a little bit dismayed at not making it 1st place on home territory, but he gives a gracious wave to a thrilled Adolf Harney. Wow. And Klaus Klaffenbach will probably be smiling underneath that helmet, I trust. He's a fairly quiet and undemonstrative chap, and some would say even sour-faced, but I hope that he's enjoyed that. And that really was a drag race. We could have almost set them off from Clearways and forgotten about the rest of the race and say, OK, guys, first one to the finish line wins. So Klaffenbach and Harney take it. And, oh, they've decided to go grass cutting. Hello, boys, where are you off to? Going to see their fan.
That's the quick way back to the paddock. You don't have to do another 2 miles. So just move those bollard things out of the way, and then that's it. Parting of the waters, says Steve Webster, and we can get back to the paddock a lot quicker.
Right. So they're headed back. The 2 Olympia outfits looking very smart together. They're the Steinhausen racing guys. And everybody lines up. Stevie Abbott, who came across the line obviously in 4th place. Tom Hanks, no problems. And Adolf Harney congratulates Claffey on a splendid race victory, which at least will have slightly narrowed that unkind deficit that's opened up at the top of the championship table. Tom Hanks congratulates the boys, and we're going to have a positive herd of sidecars, the remaining sidecars here. And there were 9 of them on the same lap. Hanks, Hautzenberger in 6th place, Van Giels 7th, Ian Guy and Andy Peach in 8th place, and Houghton on 9th place. place, and then 1 lap down the Steenbergens in 10th place, and Brian Gray on his new power biking team machine in 11th place, ahead of Trevor Stafford, with the number 6 outfit of Stuart Muldoon and Gus Gusman surviving the Grand Prix Clach Honda outfit, surviving in 13th place with some